Hi, everyone. This is Rob Roy, and welcome to the Hub Financial Crypto Show, where we talk about all things crypto with our resident expert, Mr. Brandon Burton, who is a superstar at the moment, having called pretty much every single move that's happened. So we'll get to that in just a minute. But let's take a look at the market, because last time we talked was before the election, and we talked about what was going to happen depending on who won, likely on the markets and in the crypto world. And then we get this bump here. If you look at the chart of the S&P, they're calling it the Trump bump in the media. And that was the big gap to the upside. Obviously, there's some enthusiasm on policies that may be coming out. And then we're moving back down a little bit. So some of the euphoria is just consolidating. That's really all it is. You can't go vertically up like this forever. You've heard me talk about that numerous times. So we're coming back down. We're consolidating right in the middle of this ascending pennant pattern here. We'll need to label a wave 4 and then probably go up to a wave 5. And then maybe we'll see what happens to the market after that. I know there's going to be a little bit of wait and see on the promises that Trump made, how many of those are going to actually be put into effect and to what degree. All the talks about tariffs, et cetera, there's a lot of speculation on maybe the tariffs won't be quite as high. Are they going to be as high? He's going through and making all his appointments now. But as we talked about prior to the election, if Trump did indeed win, that was going to be a boost for crypto, specifically Bitcoin. And boy, has it been. All right, so let's go ahead and bring in Brandon now. Let's not wait any longer to get to the exciting stuff. Brandon, how are you? You are you are a star, man. You called it. You nailed it. Exactly what you said was going to happen.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah, Trump won. That's great. I think everybody noticed what happened there. We'll go over the chart here in a second. But yeah, we've been talking about this for months. I mean, Rob, when you and I sat down to dinner, I mean, last year we started talking crypto. I was just remembering that time. It was a great time. You were very open to talking about crypto. I thought that was very cool. And so I think this is important to kind of remember and look back. Like, crypto's scary because and this leads into why this is doing what it's doing. But crypto's scary. Everybody's hesitant to invest in an asset that hasn't proven itself, nor does it have any surety from the government or anything. And what changed when Trump got elected is we got that confirmation that the government's going to start backing crypto. And so we'll go over kind of what that means on the chart here in a second. But I did want to talk about, before we talk about the election, I want to talk about what's happening this week, because this is a big deal. This is Michael Saylor 101. We talked, I don't know if we talked about actually, I don't know if we talked about his plan to buy and acquire $42 billion with a B dollars worth of Bitcoin. Now, just this week alone, he has bought 4.2 billion with a B again, dollars worth of Bitcoin, 51,780 Bitcoin. Last week, he bought $3 billion worth. So he spent already of that $42 billion that he was supposed to spend over 3 years. He's already spent $8 billion of his $21 billion stock side of that. And so that's a very interesting and quick move by him. But he's already talking about buying another couple billion here next week. If you look at their next proposal, he's already proposed a $1.75 billion convertible senior note offering. And guess what he's paying on that, Rob? Percentage.
No,
guess what he's paying? 0%. Sir, 0.
What?
0. So yeah, exactly. So basically, this man has figured out. Yeah, exactly. If I gave you money for free, that's the best way to borrow money. So somehow he's figured out this loophole to be able to borrow money for absolutely free to buy Bitcoin. He just announced the last couple of weeks that he's paid off all his debt. So a while ago, people were concerned that MicroStrategy would be in big trouble if Bitcoin fell below certain levels. But now he's paid off all his debt, and he has really no problems when Bitcoin falls. He'll just hold the Bitcoin. And he's already said he's going to do so forever. Even after he's dead, he said, well, my Bitcoin's going with me because I ain't selling it. So that's a pretty hold tight strategy that Michael Saylor has. And because of his conviction, you see this announcement from Mara, the miner, they are going to start following in Michael Saylor's footsteps. They just announced pricing of and it's already been oversubscribed, by the way, and I'll talk about that. But oversubscribed, zero coupon convertible senior notes, exactly like what MicroStrategy's proposed. So they're going to be paying 0%. They'd initially done a $500 million offering. They had so much interest in it already. They raised it to $750 million. And now just this morning, they popped it up to $850 million. People want these notes. They're willing to give Mara $850,000 with a promise of 0% return till 2030 because they know that they're going to get that Bitcoin yield. They're going to get the appreciation of the stock and be able to convert those notes in 2030 for a much higher price than they're buying in now. So they know that's going to happen because of what Michael Saylor is doing over with MicroStrategy. And gosh dang it, I'm sure you've seen, as well as I've seen, what that's done to MicroStrategy's stock. But the last thing that we see here, and this is the big reason we see the jump, is Donald Trump is in office. And along with his campaign promises, one of the big ones that he did was promise to set up a strategic Bitcoin reserve, in not so many words. But he's decided to take a private meeting with Coinbase's CEO, Brian Armstrong, here soon. We're going to see what that does. Coinbase was up 6% on that news yesterday. But I want to go to the chart because I've got to talk about the psychology a little bit with you as we go through what happened during the election. So if you look at my screen here, this is Bitcoin's chart. And this is election night right here. So everybody was a little bit worried. They're like, oh, everybody's lying to us about the polls, which we all kind of knew they were lying. Polymarket was right. The pollsters were wrong. We can talk about that for days and days. We can talk about Polymarket guy getting raided, but we're not going to talk about that. Anyway, that's the point. So what happened here on election night is as people started to realize that Trump was starting to win, of course, we saw this little uptick, okay, which is fine. And everybody started to tick up. And then as he started winning key states, boom, absolutely. Just like we talked about on the show, Rob, we had that huge candle upward to $75,000. New all-time high on election night, right? And then the next couple of days, what do we get? We get a drift a little bit higher. And then I have this way zoomed in, I know, but we had this drift a little bit higher. And then boom, it's like 92,700 right now. But I got to go through here. Now, typically, and if you're looking at this and you're sitting here on November 6th, you, as a technical analysis guy, and you see a trade just like this one right here, what are your thoughts, Rob?
When things go vertically like that, they tend to either go sideways and consolidate, or they back up a little bit. And this one created a little bit of a flag pattern there. It looks like a golf flag, right? You have the vertical move up, and then you go into a symmetrical triangle there. Looks like, well, the old days. Now flags on golf poles are rectangular, but they used to be triangular like that. And something's going to happen. It's going to break from there one way or the other. So it broke out. It came back and tested it. It took off again. I, for one, was waiting on MicroStrategy. Got that big bump. You and I were talking about it before we started the show. And then I've been waiting for another entry after that because I did think it might pull back a little bit more, and it didn't. So you got one big pop, but now I'm kicking myself for, those vertical moves. But yeah, normally it consolidates a little bit more to the downside than that. So that's an extremely strong voice of consolidation there when you go through and do that and then take back off again. And you can see with the upper line that you just drew after we broke to the upside there, where that was resistance just for a short period of time. Now it's support. Clearly, you can see all the coming down, talking about that being support.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you too, kind of what we were thinking and what kind of a lot of the TA guys were thinking. And there's no offense to TA guys out there everywhere. They do their best they can, obviously. But a lot of the TA guys were saying, you know what? This has got to pull back. Okay. There's no way it can do this vertical move without pulling back and reconsolidating, get a new foundation right here in the 72 range, because that was all-time highs and stuff. And then it'll come and consolidate right here. You know what we were telling our guys? Like, nah, nothing's stopping Bitcoin. Really? And the way you look at this too, and then we go past this. I mean, let's zoom back out. This is where this was. This is what we were just talking about right here in this region. All the TA guys were calling for a pullback, right? Every single one of them were like, nah, that's not going to happen. Because why? There's no reason Bitcoin's going to pull back. There's a perpetual bid on Bitcoin right now. Michael Saylor is buying billions of dollars of Bitcoin every single day. We had record inflows from the ETFs. IBIT is buying billions of dollars of Bitcoin every single week. There is nobody that's not buying Bitcoin right now. And we just got some more announcements this morning that there are more talks of more nations integrating strategic Bitcoin reserves into their treasuries because the US is now doing so. We've been talking about this for a while now. So Bitcoin going to consolidate here, but guess what? It's not going to pull back. It's going to keep going. There's no reason for Bitcoin to pull back. And for your my information, for everybody's information, if Bitcoin doesn't pull back, I don't think MicroStrategy is going to pull back very much. And I don't think anybody that's incorporating the Bitcoin standard or the Bitcoin strategy is going to pull back very much either. Because right now there's a perpetual bid for Bitcoin. So in theory, there's going to be some guys trying to trade this thing down to 85 or whatever it is and do all this nonsense and stuff like that. But there's no fundamental reason for Bitcoin to pull back right now because everybody wants to get their hands on Bitcoin. It just is what it is, which sucks for people wanting to get in now that sold right here when they thought everything was going to capitulate, So it kind of sucks for them. But it is what it is. So Bitcoin, 100K by the end of the year, easy cake right now.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say that now that we're above 92, we're in the tractor beam effect. That's the analogy that people that listen to me are familiar with. My dad was a big Star Trek fan, so I heard that all the time. You get those big round numbers, it just draws the stock to it, like the old tractor beam from Star Trek, and 100,000 right there. So it's definitely going to 100,000. The only question is what day does it get there? But it's on its way. And I can only imagine that President-elect Trump is thinking, hurry up and get me in office, because he wants to buy it before it goes to the moon, literally, here on the price. To use the old meme guy's theory, is he wants to buy some sooner rather than later, I would imagine, for the government stockpile. But yeah, I mean, what's to stop it at this point? Because now, Brandon, what you're starting to see, and you already mentioned it with other countries, this is how it works, right? When countries see something working for another country, and you've highlighted some that were early in their analysis of what they could do to their country's balance sheet by acquiring Bitcoin. You get the snowball effect where everybody starts to do it, and the snowball rolling downhill. There's nothing that can stop it. So I'm with you there. I hope that there are a few pullbacks along the way. I know they won't be significant. I was just going to say, and I was thinking when you were talking about people that want pullbacks, inevitably there'll be small ones here and there, but you have to be really nimble to take advantage of those. And, one of the things, Brandon, this goes right along with lines of what you're talking about here with Bitcoin, is in my early days of trading, one of the things that I did was I read a book, and it was the 10 biggest misnomers, or the 10 biggest mistakes that people can make. And one of them is when a stock is in a momentum run waiting for a pullback. Basically, the lesson from this guy that had been around for 100 years trading was that's a fool's game to wait for a specific pullback. Don't do that. Just, if it pulls back a little bit, maybe you can add some more. But if you're waiting for a pullback, you may miss the trade altogether. And seems like that's kind of the realm that we're in right now.
Yeah, I think so. Bitcoin's entering what they, the parabolic stage, the banana zone, the uptrend, the bull cycle, whatever you want to call it. But this time it's just a little bit different in that a lot of the purchasing is coming from big institutions because now they know Bitcoin's safe. The government trusts it, or the people that are being putting the government trusts it. There's potential for Donald Trump's Treasury Secretary picks. One of the picks that now just got endorsed by Elon Musk yesterday is now a 30% favorite on Polymarket. Owns, he said in his words, hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin personally. So he's an advocate for Bitcoin too. And if he gets in the United States Treasury, we're going to have another advocate on our side. So he's built a cabinet, and basically all the people around him support Bitcoin. So now everybody's kind of flocking to support Bitcoin as well, because they know it's not going to stop, right? So
right.
Interesting stuff here. We talked to you a little bit. What's that?
I'm sorry. Where was Bitcoin back in that dinner that we had? What did we say?
Oh, that's interesting.
26,000.
So, yeah, you and I were talking. We met in September of 2023, give or take. Yeah, Bitcoin is about 26 grand, and I know I brought it up at the table, and I was made fun of by a few people, but that's fine. That's fine. But a lot of people, yourself included, were very open to discussing what crypto can do, where it could go, and kind of that kind of stuff. And I think all of us need to be aware of that. And myself included. We need to be open to new technologies and advancing things in the world of AI, crypto, and even new technologies that might come along. Don't close off your mind to these types of things because you never know what's going to take hold. So learn about everything. And just because it's a new technology and something that you don't understand, don't try to ignore it and not learn about it or listen to the Peter Schiffs of the world or the naysayers out
Oh,
there,
yeah.
who are just a bunch of idiots who don't know what they're talking about. But that's fine. It's fine. It's cool. Cool.
Yeah.
And we talked a little
So
bit
you
before
wanted
the
to talk
show too,
about,
really. Yeah,
go
ClearSpark
ahead.
or Clean. You brought up CleanSpark and Mara before the show a little bit, and about those miners.
Right.
We talked about those two, and you've been watching those two a little bit, right? As well.
Oh,
Those are
yeah.
interesting, and you kind of pointed out to me that Mara has been struggling a little bit at consolidating on a straight line, but because they announced this new strategy, this might be one of those ones that I'm going to watch a little bit more closely than CleanSpark. I believe personally CleanSpark's a better mining company. I think they have more efficient energy consumption standards to put in place so that they can mine their Bitcoin a little bit more effectively than Mara. But Mara, now that they just announced they're going to start following MicroStrategy's thing, I think unlimited is the sky, and the potential for Mara coming up here soon if they keep enacting this and follow through with this the same way that Michael Saylor did. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to defer to you. I have been
No.
watching both of them as we've talked about them a lot, and the chart of Mara has pulled back quite a bit. It seems like a great entry from a risk to reward standpoint, which is what we look at from a TA standpoint, right? Is risk to reward, and it seems like a pretty good entry point here. Maybe it takes a little bit of time, or maybe they get follow through from today's move immediately. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm with you there. I think that chart looks ripe to turn and head back to the upside. I think it's an ideal time for that. So leaning a little bit towards Mara over CleanSpark. Are you okay? I'm with you.
I think for the immediate play with this new integration, this might be good, and it might be sunk cost fallacy for me as well because I already have a position in CleanSpark. So I might be just looking. If I was to add right here, I'd say Mara instead of CleanSpark. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at that move down, and then the reversal and heading back up. We fill that one gap. Probably don't fill that other one, but all it has to do is break from a purely technical standpoint, right where the consolidation is, where it is right now. It breaks that. It's all the way back up to the highs. So
Yeah,
seems like
perfect.
a pretty good entry. Absolutely. So there's nothing to stop it once it breaks where we are right now. I mean, honestly, there isn't. So
Yeah, yeah, setting ourselves up for success here. That's good.
yeah.
Well, hopefully,
Well,
you guys can. I guess if you guys want to learn more about what we're doing, obviously, and all the kind of plays that we're making, go check us out over at Digital Investor. We do 5 days a week. We do education, and we do a lot of behind the scenes stuff, one on one, getting your crypto set up, getting your wallet set up, getting your self custody set up, all that good stuff. We have a lot of stuff. We still haven't even been able to talk about Jupiter here on the show because there's so much stuff going on with Bitcoin, but I really want to. But anyway, we got so much stuff going on over there. Go check us out. We'll put the link in the description. Go click on that thing and follow through with that. But it's been awesome today, Rob.
oh yeah, this is. We knew this was going to be a fun show after the election, right? Since the last time we talked was before it, and of course, you're gaining notoriety all the time with your accuracy on everything that you're saying. So let's make sure that we get Jupiter in next week, and we'll watch and see what happens between now and then. I would imagine more of the same, but there you called it. Got to your target already, so now it's 100,000 by the end of the year, and I'm sure we'll see that occur. So thanks as always for your time, Brandon. Really appreciate it, and look forward to talking to you again next week. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.